Welcome to today's webinar training. I know we have been dialoguing in the past couple of days through those pre-webinar training, talking about how you can really take your local or SEO consulting business to the next level. And if you've enjoyed those past couple of pre-training, today you're really going to love this because it's totally going to take it to the next level. Because what we will be discussing today is we're talking about the simple strategy that helped me land $5,000 to $15,000 per month SEO clients on steroids, okay, without chasing anyone, cold calling, or using any of those old school client getting methods that nobody likes. And perhaps you've been doing them. I'm be showing you what I've done, the struggles I went through, and how I really kind of found out about this high ticket model. So the way I'm going to show it to you today is I'm going to teach you this by showing you how I went from SEO illiterate to having a multiple six figures local consulting practice in just last year alone. Okay, by accidentally stumbling on what I call the high ticket attraction model. Okay, now the old school traditional stuff teaches you to chase others and kind of feel rejected and kind of overcoming that, but there's a much better way, and I want to show that to you of how I've done that and how you can implement that in your business immediately. Okay, now today you're going to learn how to turn your SEO expertise into a 5 to 6 figure monthly income. Okay, even if that seems like a ridiculous number to you right now. Okay, remember I started being SEO illiterate, not knowing what a backlink is, with going by doing a lot of trial and error, getting to where I am today and just getting the recognition and different things because of the process I'm showing you today. So even if it seems like a ridiculous number to you right now, maybe it sounds like a really high goal, right? If your real income goal is like, say you want to hit 10K a month and you're really happy, then set it at like 50K or 100K. So even if you fall short a little bit, right, you're still going to be in the right zone, right? Let's say if you fall short and you hit like 20 instead, right, that's still going to be really good for you. It's a really good way to think about it, right, guys? So another thing is you're going to learn how to generate high-paying local SEO clients on demand. Now, it doesn't have to be local just with your city. It could be, if you work with international clients, the same methodology, okay? Basically, the idea is getting the exact clients that you want whenever you want them at the price you want, okay? And you're going to learn how to command a premium price point so that you can stop selling your SEO service or even your time for anything less than $2,000 per month. Wouldn't that be awesome, right? And move as quickly as possible into 5K, 10K, or even 15K per month and higher. In just a moment's time, I'm going to show you the actual checks that I got from my clients to show you what I'm teaching you today is stuff that actually works in real life. It's not theory that you read on forums. It's what I've done. And so if you follow that, it's possible that you can do similar things if you apply these principles in your business, okay? Can you imagine a day when you don't have to sell your service or your time for anything less than $2,000? Wouldn't that totally change your business? I mean, how would that affect, for example, your family and the way you deal with your clients, your business, your joy level working? Wouldn't that be so much more awesome, right? And that's just such a great thing, right? Because I never learned how to do that, okay, until I started getting into these processes. And better yet, you're also going to learn how to do all of this, okay? Getting these high caliber clients, paying you a premium price point while you're helping them without, buying more PBNs, unique C-class high POs things, outsourcing hundreds of unique articles for content and social bookmarking and all the next shiny SEO tool that you get people emailing you, oh, this SEO tool is going to solve the next problem. You're not going to need to do so many of those stuff that you think is going to get you the money when in fact getting to high ticket clients to the money, so to speak, actually boils down to 3 simple processes that I'm going to show you in a very short while. Okay, guys? Now, here's the thing that I want to talk to you about. Why is this important to you right now? Okay, because obviously SEO has been there for a while and quote-unquote different trainings or whatever, but why is it important to you right now for you to be listening to this particular webinar and going through those pre-webinar trainings? Well, here's the deal. Most SEO local consulting courses and training, okay, they focus only on how to get rankings, okay, but they don't do a good job at showing you how to get high-ticket clients. Now, granted, there are some courses that I've been on a lot that shows you, okay, this is how I get a $200 client and this is how I got a $500 client. Most of them don't show you a step-by-step process in landing high-ticket clients. Okay, and so that's just really frustrating, isn't it? When you get the rankings, the ranking, I've talked to different people on Facebook or whatever, part of these SEO groups and local consulting, lead generation group. They're like, yeah, I got a ranking, I'm getting leads, and yet I can't cash in. Isn't that frustrating? But it wouldn't be awesome if you don't need to have that frustration today if you apply those simple processes I'm showing you today. Wouldn't it be awesome? Right, guys? And so that's so important for you right now because you can understand, we all know, okay, we're in this game the Google algorithm is ever changing, right? So we don't know what's going to happen with all those Google animal algorithms. So those who can really cash in the fastest, they're going to be able to grow and adapt much better and faster than most other people. Why? Because they got the cash flow, right? So they know how to get the right tools, the right training, and to stay ahead of the curve, so to speak, right? Instead of like your competition waiting like 3 months, 4 months to get the rankings and get paid, right? If you know of ways that you can better cash in faster and even at a higher ticket level, then you're going to be able to really beat out your competition and kind of lead the way, so to speak. Okay, so the fact of the matter is, guys, traditional ways of SEO consulting simply don't work anymore, okay? The way that people teach about cold calling, chasing people, going to meetings and things like that, we don't even like doing those things, first of all. And second of all, they don't work anymore, why? Because, listen, prospects, you and I know this, okay? Our prospects are fed up, okay, with this, oh, I'm going to get you rankings in Google pitch, right? So, like, they get called up almost every single day from some call center guys from India, whatever, saying, I can promise you all these rankings. And so they're 200% skeptical of what we have to offer, what you have to offer before you even start, right? So it's kind of like an uphill battle unless you know how to properly position yourself above your competition. Okay, it's not what you think like you traditionally think about this, because again, most people will give you these theories of how to quote unquote position yourself, but it's another thing to see someone who's actually gotten clients like that, me showing you those checks and how I show you how I position myself and how you can implement that in your business. Wouldn't it be awesome if you can position yourself in a way that you're not chasing people, but they're coming to you, right? They're asking you for your help instead of you chasing them. Wouldn't it be an awesome position to be in, right? So you can learn that today, okay? And so guys, you gotta understand, the reason why it's important for you right now is that there's no better time to make huge amount of profits with SEO or local consulting if you do it the right way, right? While others are shutting down, they're getting wiped out by the algorithms, they're getting wiped out because they're getting paid like $197 clients, whereas people who know how to do this right and position properly and using the process I show you today, they can land clients in a tone of $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $15,000 like I'm showing you today. So this is why it's so important to you right now. So what you need to do is really shut off all those distractions, your Facebook, your text messaging, WhatsApp, whatever it is that's going to distract you. Put that aside, and it's going to just totally devote your time to sticking with me in the next little while so you can really grow your business, okay? Because it's going to totally change the game, okay? So let me describe who this webinar training is for and who this is not for, okay? If you perform SEO, okay, such as ranking websites, videos, local listings, or basically providing marketing services to local clients. Again, when I say local clients, it doesn't have to be in your own city. You could have national clients that you're working in another state, another province, another city, whatever. It doesn't matter, okay? But the idea is working with clients, providing kind of local marketing services for them, then this is for you, okay? And secondly, you have to have tangible results, and you have to be good at what you do, okay? What I'm sharing with you today is not for the beginners, right? So if you're like me when I first started, who don't even know what a backlink is or don't even know what on-page SEO or off-page SEO is, then clearly this is not for you, because the strategies I'm teaching you today is totally integrity-based, okay? This is not something about, have some kind of tricking the person thinking that we're in the position, they pay us a really high price and we pull the rug underneath them. That's totally unacceptable. And one of the first major shifts, one of the first major things you're going to hear me talk about is the fact that everything must be based on total integrity, that you're looking out for your clients, because it's only on that basis that you have a long-term business to grow and not being wiped up overnight, okay? So if you have these two qualities, you're performing SEO, you're good at what you do, and the only trouble that you have is landing high-ticket clients in a tone of $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $15,000 per month or more, okay? If that's the trouble that you're having, well, I got good news for you, because that's something that could be resolved, okay? Because first of all, let me ask you this, okay? Does this sound like you? Do you have some months where cash just pours into your business with new SEO clients, right? But you just can't seem to maintain it? Or do you start out every month wondering where the clients and sales are going to come from? Right? Do you secretly know your SEO service is worth way more than what you're charging right now, but you're afraid that if you raise your prices, then no one will pay them? Guys, this will only help if you're completely honest with yourself. Right now, I'm not asking you to, shout out to everybody on the webinar. Just think about this right now. Like, honestly, reflect on these, right? Do you see other people doing SEO who are making the kind of income that you want, and you just have no idea how to do it? And it's just really, really frustrating, isn't it? Are you working way too hard in your business? right? Spending too many hours, burning yourself out. And do you feel like SEO or the ever-changing Google algorithm is more so like the enemy or a threat to your business instead of an asset? And most importantly, guys, do you feel like there's an invisible ceiling on your income that you just can't seem to push past? Now, guys, if we're going to be honest about this, each of us who've been doing this kind of local consulting, SEO kind of deal, we have experienced those things, if not all of them, pretty much all of them, at one point or another in our career, okay? But you know what? The good news is this, all right? What I just described with you, those things, if you've experienced them, the good news is that those are just minor symptoms, really, of a bigger root problem. Okay, they're not really problems on its own. They're just symptoms, okay? And here's another good news is that it's not actually too difficult to fix. Okay, all that is needed is that the key is simply making a few what I call shifts. Okay, making a few shifts, that's all that's needed to put you on the right path to landing higher ticket clients. Okay? And so what we're going to be talking about today are simply those shifts and how you can implement them into your business. And when you implement those shifts, broken down to very simple steps, then you're going to see massive growth working with a higher level, higher caliber of clients, and not people who bug you with silly reports and performance check every week and that kind of deal. Who wants that, right? Getting paid low, right? People taking the deals from you, that kind of deal. None of that stuff, right? So that is the good news, making a few simple shifts. And so as we get into that, let's talk about the house rules. Number one, this is not going to be some get-rich-quick thing. All right, if you want get-rich-quick, you can go online. There are quote-unquote a lot of gurus that are going to be out there selling you some stuff, promising you a fake dream. I'm not that guy. All right, so you're not going to find it here. So if that's what you're looking for, just end the webinar and close it right now, okay? Secondly, this is not do nothing and get paid, right? Loopholes, right? Going on some super black hat stuff and you know, just really scam the system and whatever. And so this way, it's a push button software that does everything. You do nothing and you just get paid. That's not going to be here. All right, so if you're looking for that, I don't have that to offer you, okay? Number three, there's no like, I'm dead broke, but I want to make millions online, okay? This is just not realistic. This is a real business, okay? And so if you're looking to build a business, a six-figure business, all right, nobody think like that, okay? So this is a real business that requires your time, effort, okay, a capital, and you know, like buying advertising, things like that. Okay, this stuff is actually a real business. So if you're looking for get rich quick, do nothing, get paid, and you're broke and you're looking for millions, I'm not your guy. All right. And here's another thing too. My results are not remotely typical. I'm not suggesting to you just by watching this webinar and trying to think about all these suggestions I give you that all of a sudden you're gonna make multiple six figures in one single year like the way I did. That's not what I'm saying, okay? Because most people who buy any kind of how to make money training, whether it's SEO, local consulting, internet marketing, that kind of stuff, most people, okay, the average person will not make any money whatsoever. Now, my understanding is it's just like anyone who buys a treadmill, never goes on it, and 3 months later gets, you know, it's the same shape and lose no weight, and they wonder why, okay? It's because they haven't put that thing into use. And so the way I see it is that most people are like that, and that's why they don't get any results. However, there are always people who are super go-getters, who will do what it takes, and they're serious, and they're entrepreneurial-minded. Those are people that I see that usually succeed, and I consider myself one of them. SEO to local clients seem like a viable model, right? Because I hear forums of people talking about success stories, okay? But here's the thing that kind of puzzled me, okay? Some people are saying they're making like $197 per month, clients doing videos or whatever, and they'll be really happy, right? They're like, oh man, I'm getting like 10 clients at like $197. I'm like, okay, $2,000 a month. It's okay. It's not a lot, you know, compared to what I've done in the past. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And but others are saying like, I'm making like thousands of dollars per client, and that's what interests me, okay? Because if they could make $1,000 per month per client, I'm like, you don't really need a lot of clients if you have a few thousand. Let's say if your income goal is like 10 grand a month or whatever, okay? And you can land a client maybe like for $3 grand or $5 grand, right? You need like maybe like less than a handful to reach your income goal. So that kind of really piqued my interest. And again, as I said, I don't even know about, you know, SEO back then, but I kept it at the back of my head how people are using SEO to build their business. So once I started getting to the stream of, you know, going to SEO and all that, here goes the hamster wheel, right? I start beginning on a hamster wheel that all of us have been on, right? Start reading article after article, blog post after blog post, video after video, forum threads, tool after tool, tutorials, tried many different things, right? I even bought ranking course after course, and some are cheap to even more, like 47, 27, 497, even 197, $2,000. Right? People talking about how this works, still not getting the results that I want, right? Because clearly people are making it, and as you know, I'm like a really persistent guy, right? So I'm just keep learning this. And so while I'm still trying to learn all this, I learned about the idea of SEO brokering. Okay, because I need an income fast. Remember, those savings don't go on forever. At this time, I'm still living on those rations, okay? And so I couldn't wait months for rankings to come while I was learning SEO. And it takes time to rank stuff and all that stuff, right? And so I was learning about the brokering idea, which is basically outsourcing SEO, right? You don't do the SEO, you outsource it to somebody else, and you just take on a client. So my task then was just, okay, you know what? I'm just going to land a client. And so I went on forums. I started doing it the hard way. How do people land clients, right? It started, oh man, that was just really, really bad, right? So I started getting into cold calling. Okay, if you've been on the pre-webinar training, I've been talking about this. The hard way is cold calling, right? I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dials, right? Getting rejected over and over again. No, I'm not interested. Getting hung up on, right? People yelling at you, right? Some even swear at you, right? Was it fun? No, but I need to make it happen. Right? And so, and I was all over the place. I didn't know what kind of niches to focus on. I was focusing on cleaning services, dance people, interlocks, and mortgage brokers, and childcare, and all these different things. Just kind of hitting it, like throwing on the wall and see what sticks, right? And getting rejected over and over again. Isn't that painful? Super painful. Have you been there? It's not fun, isn't it? Right? Here's the thing, Yellow Pages, I talked about that, send lump mail, picture guys who put on Yellow Pages ad, they're already upset that they're not getting the return that they want on Yellow Pages, and yet I'm trying to pitch them. Guess how well that went, right? And so the hard way, mailing DVDs, right? Sending out to these dentists, right? Individually customizing each DVDs to all these dentists' website. This is wrong. I gotta edit the video, package it in DVD case, print a cover, put in a postage, go to the mailing, and all that stuff. And guess how many leads I got in return for this? As I talked about a pre-webinar training, zero leads. How good do you think that made me felt? Right? It's so horrible, right? And so the hard way, I was doing proposals, right? If I'll just work up the right proposals, right? So I remember this particular one I talked about in the webinar training as well, pre-webinar training as well, right? I was like spending so much time. I'm going to do this. I'm going to list how many keywords, how many videos I'm going to do for them. And this is why I don't do them anymore, because this is one of the first times I did this. I remember going to this client's office, sitting down. The first thing that he looked at, he scrolled straight down to the price. He didn't even look at the value I'm trying to build for him. He's like, oh man, this is too expensive. I knew it was going to cost me something, but I didn't know it was going to be that expensive. That's what he told me, right? He didn't even try to understand what I'm trying to do for him. And that was my fault, because I didn't even understand at that time the process to position yourself and to put yourself in a way where it's so much more prone for your prospects to give you higher ticket payments, more so than your competition, right? I didn't know that back then. So that's why I stopped doing this, because guys, if you've been doing proposals, guys, and it's not really working out for you, and you're getting like $200, $300, $500 clients, $800 maybe, right? The problem is it's not really in the proposals. Okay, we're gonna get into that more as we talk about the pre-webinar training. It's not about us; it's about them. Are you doing the me-centric model or the client-centric model? Okay, guys, I had my breakthrough when it came with a $5,000 program. Okay, and you gotta understand, back then, that's like really, really something. Like, it's like if this doesn't work, then it's like, I'm not even sure if I can eat, that kind of deal. Have you been in those situations? Right? But you know what? You're at the point where, like, because I grew up grew up in the business. I've always been a believer in investing in my business, because at that point I've invested well over $50,000 to $70,000 in my business education. Okay, I've been on like mastermind events where it's like $10K for like, maybe, I don't remember, like 3 or 4 days, something like that, right? And so I invested thousands and tens of thousands of dollars in my business education, and it took me to where I went. Right, I was making like multiple six figures in my first 12 months. So I already understood the idea of investing. It's important, right? People who just get all these quote unquote free advice and stuff, they get stuck in a level that I don't want to get stuck in, right? So for me, consistent rankings did not come until I just dug in and got really serious, right? And because I invested $5,000 in this program, it's a significant investment. It's not like 500, like it's not like a $50 e-course or whatever. It's $5,000. If this doesn't work, I cannot not work. It has to work. Okay, because remember, at this time I was living on rations. So again, I was newly married, newborn daughter, right? And so I had to make this work. So, so once I got into this, and here's the thing, this program just taught me how to rank. It was really good. It's pretty good at teaching me how to rank stuff. The only downfall is just like most of the other programs out there didn't teach me how to get high ticket clients the way I'll be showing you today. Okay, so I learned how to rank, and so I was so excited. You remember your first ranking on Google? You type it in, you're like, man, I'm finally ranking on first page, and you're climbing. You see yourself in first, top 3, then first spot, right? Did you remember those times? I was made a believer that SEO works, right? And back then I was doing a combination of on-page stuff, show, backlinks, and PBNs. I had some really strong PBNs going on there, and working with some people, and so it was great. So I replicated that process. Basically, once I got the rankings, my confidence shot up. I know I could deliver, and so that's when I started coming up with this replicated process for high ticket local profits. Because at the end of the day, and here's where we're gonna get into more of the nuts and bolts, guys. At the end of the day, it boils down to 3 simple steps, which I'm about to show you right now. If you want high ticket clients, if you want to get them in the span of maybe $2 grand, $3 grand, $5 grand, 15 grand, like the ones I'm gonna show you, okay? It's just basically down to 3 very simple steps. And I'm not going to be showing you, when I say process, I don't mean the process for rankings. I don't mean, oh, do this to get rankings. This has nothing to do with rankings, because I'm trying to help people who already have rankings, who are very good at what they do, but they're getting stuck with clients who are paying them $200, $500, or even $800, maybe $1,000, and they really can scale to the higher figure ones, right? I want to help those people. Okay, so that's why in the beginning I said you have to have tangible results, because this is not about pulling the rug off your underneath your clients. It's about really helping them, and how while you're helping them, you can also get paid highly. Okay, so it's one thing to get a high ticket client once in a while, right? Kind of like a fluke, so to speak, right? Oh, somehow you just gotta, high ticket client. Oh, I landed on $2 grand. I landed a $3 grand client, after 5 years of doing this. It's another thing to consistently get them through a proven process. I can tell you, after the 445 client, and after that second cold calling client, the 1350, I never had anyone less than that. Never. Because of this process I'm showing you. Okay? Wouldn't it be awesome if you can be in a day where you're like, you know what, I'm not gonna work with anybody less than $1,300 or less than $1,000, and I'm just gonna work with people who will pay me at least 2, 3, or 5 grand or more per month. Wouldn't that be awesome if you can do that? And do you know how I got knowing this attraction method? This was my epiphany. My epiphany was this. Here is a very simple fact, right? The fact is that there are people getting paid $197 per month clients, and there are those who are getting paid $5,000 per month clients. Okay, so this is a fact. Okay, it's not like some trivial stuff. Okay, this is actually happening, and you know there are people out there on these two sides. So what I realized was, you know what? The problem is not what most people think. The problem is not on the clients that they don't have the budget, right? Sometimes you think, oh man, I have another one of those clients. It's I think my price is too much. I'm charging too much. Are you kidding me? If your clients think your $500 or $1,000 package is too much, whereas I'm cashing in $5 grand a month, other people doing the same thing. You gotta understand, it's not in the client's problem. That's what I realized when I was having that $445 client. That's what I realized. The problem is I'm not in the right group. I need to stop thinking and acting like the $197 per month group of people. I gotta start investing my time and money and my efforts on those high ticket people. That's it. That was my epiphany. I gotta focus and learn from those getting the results that I want. Those who are getting the 2 grand, 3 grand, 5 grand, those who are doing that. I only focus on people who are doing that, and even though there may not be courses out there, I'll be listening to that. Look, kind of picking and seeing how these people are doing it. And as I do that, my mindset also shifts. Right? It's like at the belief level, knowing that you can do this, and so the way you talk, the way you deliver yourself and carry yourself totally changes. Right? Here's the thing, you gotta understand your prospects hear everything. Okay? You are like a mirror. Okay? You're like a mirror to your business. So if you have uncertainty, if you're afraid of some sort, if you're scared that you can't make it this month, if you don't believe you're worth the 2 grand, 3 grand, 5 grand a month, or 15 grand a month, your clients can hear that. It's like a mirror reflecting straight back to you. Okay, but boiling down all these trial and error, okay, the 3 simple steps to consistently attracting and landing high-ticket clients is so simple. And yet I don't know why most people don't do it, including myself, struggling for so long until I figured this out, right? 3 simple steps. Number 1 is the point of contact. Okay, it's very logical, right? The point of contract is the way you get into a prospect or prospective client. But here's the thing. You're going to soon learn why not every contact that you made is created equal. Okay, it's same idea of not fishing in the right pond. The second step after you contact, okay, you have something to work with, some people to work with, is the close. This is where most people drop the ball. When I'm talking about close, I'm not talking about pressuring them and used car lot salesman, that kind of close. It's absolutely different. You're going to learn why in a very simple way. What I do is 100% attraction, okay, 100% pull, okay. It's stress-free. It's not those traditional close that you think about, okay. And the third thing is, obviously, you're going to continue this, okay? If this thing works, then you're going to continue the same process. But here is the problem, guys. The problem is when you're contacting through the hard way, like me in the beginning when I first started. Cold calling the people, going to trade shows, going to local meetings, sending the DVDs, right? Doing the lump mails, yellow pages, blah, 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 all the hard way, going through uphill, right? And so, obviously, these are probably not the best people, right? And so when you get those kind of, get in the hard way and you're working on a lower caliber people, you close the wrong type of clients, right? And when you also believe you can close at a higher ticket, 2, 3, or 5 grand more, you also close at a lower price. And so essentially, you're going to be going through those vicious cycle that I personally went through, okay, for months and months on end, fighting the uphill battle, going on the hamster wheel. Right? And you just keep on landing bad clients, low-paying clients, right? Working with a lower caliber clients, and you continue the process because that's painful, but you still do it. Why? Because it worked. At least you're getting some kind of money coming in, right? But that's a hard way, guys. It's the way I've shown you. Success comes, the easier way comes when you learn how to make contact through easy attraction ways, easy attraction methods, okay, for maximum positioning. Not chasing people, but have them come to you. We're going to get into specifics very soon. Okay? When you are able to position yourself and attract them with maximum positioning, okay, now you're landing people with much higher tickets. Okay, they're gonna be people who are much higher caliber. Not gonna bug you about silly reports. They are these people who are business minded. They understand business. They're willing to invest in themselves, and they have the ability to invest in themselves and to grow the business. And so when you do that, now you have the awesome cycle of continuing your leveraging, your positioning, attracting the right clients, and scoring a lot higher. What do you call it on your business? Okay, it's like sales, right? In sales, they have a scoreboard, right? It's like this particular rep has 0 to 10. They've done maybe like 3 sales. That's their score, right? But as you continue that scoreboard, okay, you're going to be getting higher and higher caliber clients, just like those people who are sales rep. But the way we're going to do this, we're not going to be sales rep, okay? The way you're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing like attraction method, okay? To a higher points level of clients that you're working with. And so that way, you're getting a rapid growth in your high-ticket consulting business, and you're getting much more joy. Why? Because it's logical, right? It's working with a 2 grand, a 3 grand, a 5 grand client, 15 grand client. It's much more happier than working with a $200 client, right? $500 client, right? It's just logical sense, right? And if you have not had a high-ticket client before, I want to tell you that these guys don't really bug you. They're such higher caliber people. They don't bug you about performance report or things like that and high demanding. They don't just do that. So as you can see, if this cycle continues, then the key hinges on the close. Okay? The key is on the close. Because if you are not able to close people on the high ticket price, if you're not able to attract the right caliber people so that you can close them on a higher price, then you're going to continue the vicious cycle of landing bad clients, high demanding clients, low paying clients, and you're going to be closing them. And this cycle just continually goes on, and you're going to be miserable. And it's just, you're going to want to feel like you want to give up, right? But if you do it the right way, if you close the right clients who are high caliber and you track them, position, and do it the right way, now your cycle is good. You're continually landing higher ticket clients. And you don't need a lot of them, guys. If you want to grow into a big-time agency, I guess you could and start hiring sales rep like we talked about. But, if you're just looking, you know what? I generated multiple 6 figures in local consulting with just about a handful of clients. Much less headaches, okay? And so much easier to handle higher caliber people. So the key is on the close. And so when you think about close, you can ask yourself this question: how good were you in your business so far in closing the high ticket, high caliber people that you're going to love working with, your ideal clients, your dream clients? Okay, guys, because what I want to share with you today, if the close is so important, if everything hinges on this close, then it makes logical sense to help you up your game, okay, to a successful close, closing the high ticket clients, okay? So let's talk about this specific area, 3 keys to a successful close. Okay, again, we're going to talk about closing. We're not going to about pressuring and that kind of used car salesman stuff. None of that stuff, okay? Attraction type close, okay? Positioning close, okay? 3 keys to successful close. Number 1, you're going to know where or who to close, right? Where do you find those people? Where do you find those high caliber prospects? Number 2, what are you going to close them on? Okay, what are you offering? Okay, but again, we're not talking about me-centric model. We're talking about customer, client-centric model. What is your perceived value, which leads to your commanded price? You're not like suggesting, you're commanding it because you know you're worth that much, and the way that you can be paid that much is only if your perceived value, okay, is established. I'm going to get into specific detail there. Thirdly is how do you practically close them? Your ability to get paid premium price. Even if you find them, even if you have a package, if you have something that makes sense, how do you close them so that to a point where they pay you and you get a check in hand and money gets into your bank account, right? 3 keys to a successful close. Let's talk about the first one. The first key, where and who. How do you identify and find these high caliber of clients? Well, first of all, you got to understand how to reverse engineer your ideal prospects. Where do they hang out? Okay, what are their current struggles and goals? And can they afford your high ticket fee? Okay, these are things you got to ask yourself, right? I mean, if you're not getting the caliber of clients you want right now, start here. Okay, and ask yourself these questions. Take out a pen and paper right now and ask yourself these questions. The target market that you're really good at ranking right now, take out a sheet of paper and start writing these down. Let's say if you're really good at ranking, I don't know, like roofers. Okay, if you're really good at ranking like accountants, whatever it is, okay, or you already have existing sites and results that you can deliver, videos, whatever, then you're going to be a lot easier because you already have results, and so all it needs is you to be able to close them, right? So ask yourself, where do my ideal accountants and roofing guys hang out, right? And how can I get in touch with those people? That's what you got to start doing this, and you got to understand. Start asking the questions, what are their current struggles and goals? Okay, if I put myself in the shoes of the accountant or the roofer, what are they thinking? Well, I know they certainly aren't thinking about rankings. I know they're certainly not thinking about getting SEO. I know they are thinking about how to pay their crew. Okay, I know they're thinking about how to land jobs, make sales, right? Getting the phone to ring, giving estimates. I know that's what they want. Those are their goals. And those are also their struggles because they're not getting it. Right? So you're going to start asking yourself this question and start reverse engineering where your ideal prospects are, and then go there and find them. And when you find them, you go talk about those things that you just come up with about the struggles and goals. Okay, we're going to go into a little more detail about that. And another question you're going to ask yourself is, can they afford your high ticket fee? Okay, so for example, are you working with like local like nail salons? Right, that they get paid $35 per transaction. Okay, I feel so bad for people. In fact, what I should tell you now that I actually thought about this, when I just started to do this, I actually went into one of those nail boutique, whatever, carrying a bag trying to handle flyers. I didn't know better back then. That was another painful process on top of the cold calling. Is I walked in, and the first thing the person said was, "Oh man, it's not a salesman," right? And I felt so bad walking in there. But remember, I was working on rations, had to make it work, so I would do anything, right? But can you just imagine the people who don't want you there, right? They dislike you, you're pitching them, and they're not going to be a good client anyway because they have a $35 per transaction. Wow, right? You got to think about that. Who are people who can afford your services? People who are getting paid thousands of dollars, like roofers. That's why you have a lot of people local consulting doing roofers. But still, I don't understand why people are saying they're charging like $500 or whatever. Okay, you should be charging more like $5,000, right? Because if one transaction they make is like 20, 30 grand, right? If you get them maybe like 5 jobs, and and I know not everything is profit. Okay, so if they get like say like 5 30 grand jobs, okay, that's like 150 grand of sales. Can they afford to give you $5 grand a month? Of course. Okay? So you're gonna start thinking in those terms. Okay, now I understand I'm giving an overarching general thing. I understand each scenario is different. There's some roofers, some companies that have higher margins than others. These things you gotta work up. I'm just giving you these ideas as you approach them, thinking about your business now. This actionable stuff you can do. Okay, and so if you're not getting caliber of clients, start here and ask these questions. Number two is, I want you to think about it on this thing. Okay, I want to give you an example when you're thinking this through. Does business meetups and expos is going to business meetups and maybe like local BNI groups or whatever, are those good ways to land your high caliber clients? Just think about it for a moment, okay? Because I tried it and I certainly hated it, okay? Because I wasted time fishing at the wrong pond. Now maybe there are exceptions. You might occasionally get one or two good here's and there, but I want consistency. I don't want to spend every week going to these groups. And here's another thing you gotta ask yourself, like, who goes to these kind of meetings? Do these people pay for ads? Why do business owners go to these local BNI groups or whatever it is? Because they don't want to pay for advertising, generally speaking. Because if they pay for advertising, they wouldn't be going to those groups, giving each other referrals, and then getting up for a 30-second pitch. Do successful business owners who are willing to invest tens of thousands of dollars into businesses waste hours upon hours every single week on weekly meetings and 30-second pitches and giving out referrals to different people? Do they do that? Do you see Steve Jobs doing that when he was on Earth? Do you see, I know this is like a very extreme example, like those who are top CEOs, but even local business owners, do they do that? If you've not been in these meetings like I did, if you've been there like I did, you know what I'm talking about. It's painful, isn't it? Right? Those 30-second pitches. And everyone who's in there is trying to pitch one another, but you're trying to give referrals to one another. And so you get your mom and your friends to go and to use other people's services and you refer them. So in that group, you don't look like a jerk, right? So you refer someone in hopes that they will refer you back. But some people I talk to those groups, they actually say, yeah, I've been here for like a few months and never gotten a single referral yet. Isn't that painful? Week after week after week of 30-second pitches, wasting, hours of your time every week, no consistency. Is that a good way to find your high caliber prospects? I'm trying to give you a real life example to help you really think this through, right? It's probably not your best bet. Now, as I go through these steps, I'm trying to share with you, I'm not telling you my way is the only way. I understand there are many other people doing it different ways and perhaps it's working out for them. It's great. What I'm sharing with you is not theories, what I actually do, what I've experienced, and what worked for me. So if you have something that works for you right now, go and do your thing. Okay, but if you have not been getting a way that works for you, perhaps I would say try doing what I'm trying to share with you right now. Think along these lines. If you're trying to get paid tens of thousands of dollars for months to come in your business, right? Because think about it. It's tens of thousands of dollars. If you land a $3,000 client on a 12-month contract, that's $36,000 a year, right? Does a business owner who can afford that kind of money to pay you, are they going to go to some kind of meeting like this? I think I made my point strong enough, right? So guys, you can understand it. Remember this, okay? Now they understand, kind of where to go, which pond to go to. That's kind of the first step, where and who to find, okay? Now you're going to start understanding the high-ticket formulas that you got to remember, okay? So what do you offer, and what price you offer, and what kind of things do you get? Okay, so you can understand this, okay? We already talked about the very obvious one, and that is if you fish in the wrong pond, so to speak, okay, with the lower caliber clients and things like that, you're obviously going to get cheap and bad clients, okay? However, that does not mean that if you're fishing in the right pond does not instantly mean that you get high-ticket clients. Because you can be talking to a multimillionaire who have a business, and yet he's not going to pay you anything more than $500. Whereas if they talk to me, he's going to pay me $5,000, $15,000 a month. Why? Because you're not doing the positioning and the stuff that I'm talking to you, showing you in just a second. So just because you're fishing in the right pond, you're doing it the right way, does not mean you're going to get high ticket clients. Because you can understand this. Since high ticket, this is a term, mathematical symbol called since. Now, if you think I'm a really mathematical guy, I'm not. I just want to kind of throw in this slide here to make myself look a little more intellectual, okay? Because actually, I didn't even go past grade 12 math, okay? It was really sad. One time, I was doing this math test. I couldn't do it. And I told the teacher, you know what, I can't do this test. Just fail me because I don't understand this. It was like sine, cosine, tangent, and stuff like that, right? For some people, it's like, oh, that's really simple stuff, right? I just didn't understand it. So the teacher gave me, and I know I'm digressing, I'm getting to the point, okay? But so they gave me like a second chance to write this test. Even on that second chance, I was like, you know what, fail me, because I don't know how to do this. I was that bad at math, and yet, guess what, guys? I generated multiple 7 figures in sales since I first started my online business. And so, guys, I digress. But so anyways, here is the since mathematical symbol, okay? Since high ticket sales or clients only come if the value is perceived, okay? And if, and to identify the value perceived is, if your value perceived is higher than your fee, then it equals your sale. Simply put, it's very simple, okay? If someone invests $1 into your service, unless they see at least they can make more than $1, maybe not immediately, maybe at least throughout time, if they cannot at least make back $1, you don't have a sale, right? If what you got to offer, if you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna charge you $1, and they're not gonna make at least $1.25, $1.50. Most people want to make at least like $2 back, like make a full return back, right? Unless if you have that formula, you're gonna make a sale, right? Anyone would change $1 for $2. Right? Whether it's immediate, whether, obviously we can do it immediately, that's even better. But most of the time, in business, it may take some time. If you're doing the rankings, you're doing lead generation stuff, it may take a few weeks or whatever. Maybe some a month or two. But as long as you can deliver that value, and not only you can deliver it, but they can perceive it. So important. If they can perceive your value and that it's higher than your fee, then you can have that client, right? And so therefore, if you're fishing in the right pond, and your prospects are able to perceive your value higher than the fee that you're asking, that you're commanding, then you're going to have your premium clients. Very simple. High ticket formulas, these are things, just remember it. Okay? And by the way, your perceived value that you deliver must match or exceed the actual value that you deliver. All that means is you got to deliver what you promise. Okay, that's what it means. Because again, as I said, this is not about using these tactics I'm showing you, positioning and leverage, not using these things to trick people and then pull the rug underneath them. Okay, you're not going to have a long-term business that way if you do it that way. This is integrity-based, long-term viability. Okay, so if that's why in the very beginning I'm talking about who this is for. This is for people who have real results. It's not for newbies. Okay? So if you result to deliver, and you can actually help your clients, and you can have a win-win situation, then just remember this, okay? Fish in the right pond, increase your perceived value, so that they see that your perceived value is much more than the fee you're commanding, then you got your premium clients. So how then do you really increase this perceived value, and how to really show them and communicate that your value is so much more than your fee? Well, one of the importance of being seen with your perceived value is called the pre-frame, okay? Now, the amount that you can successfully charge, high ticket wise, and the way that you can receive from your client is directly proportional, okay, to your pre-frame. Now, I'm going to explain this to you through a study done with at MIT on the pre-framing phenomenon. And I'm just going to give you a very short version of it. And economy class students, okay, university, the normal professor, okay, can't be there for some reason. So they need to call in a supply professor. So before, so the students, the economy class students, okay, have the bio of the regular professor. So they know the bio of that, normal professor, the publications he has done, how long he has taught, and what his credentials are, things like that. Okay, so you know the regular professor. Now on a supply professor, they give this group of class students another sheet of paper explaining this particular professor, credentials, publications, history, and things like that. And the deal is, in this study, both of these bio of these professors look almost identical. They're very, very similar. Now, obviously, the publications and names, they're going to be a little bit different, okay? But generally speaking, okay, it's so similar. The only difference is one line, okay? So with the supply teacher, they separated this class with two groups of people. One group, they gave them the line that says, this supply professor is very warm, kind, and helpful. Okay? The second group, okay, they gave one line that says, this supply professor is cold, mean, and unapproachable. Everything else the same, with credentials and history and teaching experience, all that kind of stuff with the regular professor. Everything else the same, but these two groups are given that one line difference. One says they're nice and good, the other says he's cold and mean. And guess what? At the end of the webinar, I'm doing this webinar now, but guess what? At the end of that class, when they're taking a survey from the class, okay, and ask them an opinion, a feedback of that supply professor, guess what the results were? The results came back that those people who got the sheet that says the supply professor is warm and nice and that kind of deal, they rated the professor in a similar fashion. That he's approachable, he's nice, I can talk to him, I like him, right? Versus the ones who got a bad line saying the professor was bad, guess how they rated that supply professor? That he's mean, unapproachable, okay, unprofessional, things that are negative. So guys, do you see how important the pre-framing is? Okay? I'm explaining to you the idea of the pre-frame, and then we're going to get into the practical of how to increase that pre-frame, how to increase that perceived value of you. But if you don't understand this, because sometimes when you guys think, oh, okay, for the pre-frame, the framing, positioning, blah blah blah, those of you think about it that way, that's why you're not getting the right clients. You're not getting the right caliber of clients. Number one, because you don't believe it yourself. Number two, is your clients don't perceive it. Don't perceive your frame, don't perceive your value. That's why you're getting those low ticket clients. But today that's going to change if you apply them and understand this. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't you want to be in a group where you're seen as the one who is kind and nice and helpful, right? How do you engineer that pre-frame to your prospects? Well, good question, because we're going to get into that, guys. The biggest mistake, you got to understand this. Practically speaking, the biggest mistake that most local consultants or SEO marketers make is believing that the prospect is in control. Because, and they're thinking that they're the ones making the decision because they have the money, right? Okay, this client, I'm going to go to this meeting, I'm getting this phone call, I'm saying this proposal, and they're in control because they're going to decide to pay me money or not. But you know what, guys? That is completely backwards. And if you think that way, it shows you don't understand your pre-frame. And that's also one of the reasons why you got to make that shift now, okay? Because you got to understand this, money is only a commodity. Money can be found anywhere. You can borrow it. I mean, you can get a loan from the bank, get it from your friends, your family. You can, work a second job, get a promotion, right? Whatever, right? Money can be gotten anywhere. Those people that don't have money, they're really making excuses. Now, I'm generally speaking, those people who are working, and I'm not talking about people who are like making $1 a day in like India or something. Those people, we got to help them. But what I'm saying is, generally speaking, if you live in a North American culture, at least you're working. This thing is not like if you're talking to business owners, they tell you don't got money. Okay, it's basically, it can be gone anywhere. The reason why they tell you don't have the money, or they give you like, oh, I got to talk to my partner and things like that, is because you have not increased your perceived value. Because I can tell you for a fact, if your business owner understands and perceive the value that you give them to a point where they know that if they put $1 in with you, they're going to get $2 back, they're going to do it no matter what. Even if they don't have the money, they're going to find the money. Okay, but you if you're not being able to get those 2, 3, 5, 15 grand clients, it's because you don't understand this pre-frame, but it's going to change today. Isn't that good news? Money's only commodity, can be found anywhere. The only bargaining chip that your prospect has is money, which is common. It can be gone anywhere. Okay, now that's gonna really free you. Now you're gonna think about this. On the contrary, you are a very, very rare asset that not everyone can get, and that is the truth. Why is that the truth? Because if they can do what you do, they would have done it themselves. You see that? Now, obviously, you can't say it this way I'm sharing with you. You must do it with you must understand this in your inner frame. I'm going to show you practically how to do this. Okay? Like in the next couple of slides. But unless you understand this inner frame, okay, it doesn't work for you. It's just going to be like regurgitating methods and things. It doesn't work that way. You have to understand. They are trying to win you. You're not trying to win them. With the attraction methods, if you're finding in the right pool, positioning yourself in the right way, okay, and you're doing practical steps to position yourself, which I'm going to show you in just a few slides, you don't need to work with every single person. You don't need 10 clients and $200 a month to get $2 grand. All you need is one $5 grand client. And for most people, that's like, oh, that's a lot. If you want 10, get 2 clients, right? And so, guys, you don't need a lot of people. You gotta understand you're a rare asset, especially if you can deliver what you can deliver. You're good at what you do, right? I know, like from talking to people, they're really good at what they do. The only thing is they have trouble getting paid what they're worth. So that's gonna be good news for you if you're in that stage. If you can deliver results, right? You're gonna understand you're a rare asset. When you're going in there, you're interviewing them. You're gonna see if they're gonna be a good fit for you. If whether you decide whether they're gonna take you on. Okay, that's the truth. You don't want to work with everybody. You want to work with only those high caliber clients who appreciate you. Okay, who's not going to talk behind your back, who's not going to take your expertise or suggestions and give it to another guy so that they make the money instead of you, right? No, you're not going to work with people like that. You can work with people who appreciate you, who love the work you do, who pay you a high amount of money, and while you grow their business. Win-win situation. Okay, and you're going to get there through this pre-framing, this inner frame, because to practically act out this inner frame. How do you can't tell this to your client like this. You can't say, oh, Mr. Prospect. You can't say, oh, Mike, listen, all right, I'm deciding I'm going to work with you, all right? You can't be a jerk like that. Nobody wants to work with you like that, okay? So, but you got to understand this inner frame. So how do you practically do it? You got to understand this. The close is not at the close, okay? And that's what I've been trying to tell you from like earlier. This is not some regurgitation, used car salesman, objection handling lines. Okay, it's not about methods and objection lines and things like that. If you've been memorizing those lines and things like that, and I'm trying to suggest to you there may be an easier way, a better way. Those quote unquote objection handling lines and regurgitation stuff, they may work, okay, in maybe the cheaper ticket stuff. But at least it doesn't really work in the high ticket caliber client acquisition process. It doesn't work with these people. Okay, if you've dealt with people like that, it simply doesn't work. Now you can understand this. When was the last time you purchased a high ticket item because someone pressured you into it? Right, when you bought your car or whatever. Okay, that's gonna be a high ticket item, right? It's depending on which car you get, can be anywhere between 20 or 100 grand, right? When was the last time you felt someone really pressured you into it and you felt, oh, that's just really happy because they pressured you into it and you got it? Right? And so, when was the last time you purchased a high-ticket item because you personally perceived the value and the desire, the need, and the want of that purchase? Okay, guys? So, here's the deal. You just gotta simply learn how to engineer that same experience that you had when you personally decided and perceived the value and the desire and the need and the want of that purchase. That's it. Through an integrity-based process. Again, something you can really deliver, and something that you can really show others that you can deliver, and that they can perceive it when it happens, right? It's 100% pull. No pressuring, stress-free, guys. Instead of you cold calling, trying to do all these, promising, things that you cannot promise, and you do it anyway, trying to get the client, you don't have to do that anymore, guys. Okay? Because you gotta understand this, okay? Practically speaking, just understand this, okay? You and I pay premium all the time. It's no big deal, okay? Right? What are you trying to charge, like a few $1,000s a month? Are you trying to land a $2,000, a $3,000, a $5,000 client? That's really not a big deal. We do it all the time. You do it all the time. So why make it a big deal for your clients? Okay, your mortgage, your rent, your car, vacations, Christmas gifts, or whatever, you do it all the time. You don't, and you don't make a big deal of it. Why are you gonna make a big deal now with your clients? Oh, I don't know if they're gonna pay me $3,000. I don't know if they're gonna pay me $5,000, right? When you just whipped out your credit card to go on to take that on vacation with your family. And you know what? Most of these things that we do are depreciating assets that make no income. And yet we happily pay them. Okay, I actually don't really happily pay those depreciating assets, but many people do, okay? Your prospects are the same, right? They're buying this car, okay, like 30, 40, 50 grand. Okay, they're making like, every month they're making like a $3,000 payment on it. Okay, and they know that the moment they drive it off the lot, they lose 10%, depreciates. The first year they drive that car off the dealership, it loses 30% of the value. Okay, so that's like throwing money down the toilet, and they happily do it anyway. They pay a $3,000 payment. And yet you and I, and well, at least not me now, and yet you're thinking it's really hard to get a client to pay $3,000 a month. Well, I'm trying to show you it's really not that big of a deal to pay a few grand. If you don't find it's a big deal, you and I have done it all the time, and your clients have done it all the time. Okay, so if you have a solution and an asset that can help your prospects to actually have recurring income, then it's going to be a no-brainer. No-brainer. You just have to learn how to let them perceive that you can do this. How you can give them recurring income. If you're good at what you do, you can get the rankings, you can generate the leads, make the phone ring, okay? Work with the database of people. basic, simple, local client generating stuff, if you can do that, they can perceive it, you got your client there. And you gotta understand this, guys. The reason why I stress the fact that they have to perceive it is because if you say it, you have to prove it, and you got to defend it, right? If you say, Mr. Prospect, just with what I'm doing with these local consulting clients, I can get you an extra 10 grand in sales a month. And guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna be like, oh, yeah, well, why are you gonna be able to generate 10 grand in sales for me? All these other guys are promising me. See, now you're gonna defend yourself. But if you lead him to a point of self-discovery where he realizes, oh man, this guy I'm talking to, he can probably generate me an extra 10 grand a month by doing these local marketing strategies and telling me. Man, if he can have that inner dialogue in his mind, you got your client there. If you're charging him 5 grand and he can see that you can get him 10 grand a month, you got your client right there. Okay? Because if they see it for themselves, it's fact. It needs no defending. It needs no proofing because it came from them. It's really, really important to understand this way. So the practical way for you to do this is to do the opposite, 180 degrees to the typical SEO marketer, which is your competitor. Okay? And if you want a little bit more details on this, go back and dig up your email and look up for that pre-webinar training. We're talking about the me versus the client-centric model, right? Whereas everybody's pitching, oh, Mr. Client, oh, Mike, I can give you 20 keywords, I can do 5 videos, I can do these rankings, this number of citations, this number of local directory, and these kind of amount of keywords, blah, 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 blah. They don't even care about any of that stuff, right? And yet most people are pitching that kind of deal, all right? And also charging super low because they're going to compare on price. We are not going to compete on price, okay? If you want something cheap, Mike, listen, I'm not your guy. Okay, there are hundreds of people who are going to sell you some cheap stuff and promise you something that you don't, that you're probably not going to get anyway. But, I'm just going to tell you straight up as it is. All right, I'm actually expensive. I tell people that, you know what? I am expensive, and yet they get my service. Why? It's about these inner frames, pre-frames I'm showing you, and these practical things you're doing. Me, for instance, client-centric model. Are you focusing on your clients or are you focusing on yourself? Guys, we're still talking about the close here. The reason why you're not closing the clients that you want is you're not doing this. Whether you like it or not, guys, our prospects, they don't care about us. They really don't care about us. The only thing they care about is them. And so if you make that the commonality between you two, when you make that contact, that the only thing you care about is them, then you have something common. Now, just think about this. You're not coming on this webinar because you like the way I talk or whatever, or you basically just like me. You're on here, you're trying to figure out how does Emmanuel land these 2 grand, 3 grand, 5 grand, 15 grand clients, and generate them multiple 6 figures in local consulting in just 1 year alone, working with just about a handful of clients. That's what you want to figure out, right? That's what I'm trying to show you. Because I know my prospects don't care about your prospects, and our prospects don't care about us. They care about them. So help them get the results that they want. So if you understand that, give them what they want. Genuinely help them. Novel concept, isn't it? Right? So where most of the competition is in this pitch mode, you want to put on the position, diagnose, and interview mode. Okay? Very important. Okay? Position, diagnose, interview mode is another shift you want to adopt in your business right now. Okay? What is the position and diagnose and interview mode? Okay, it's very simple. Okay, you gotta understand that if you want to work with higher caliber of clients, you're gonna adopt some processes that most people don't do. The stuff that I do, I know that most people don't do them. But you know what? I don't mind that because that's how I landed high ticket clients. And so, if you are tired of wasting time with tire kickers, okay, people waste your time, bad clients, then you gotta learn this position, diagnose, and interview process. All still talking about how to get paid a premium price in a close. Position. Do you remember the people who ruins your day, string you along and tell you that they're serious and when they're really not, and you get all your hopes up, and then they tell you, oh, I'm not interested, I'm not doing this anymore, or life happens, blah, blah, they give you all these excuses, right? If you want to start saying bye to these people and start these tire kickers, then you're gonna start properly positioning yourself. Okay, and one of the practical ways to do that is don't make yourself readily accessible. Okay, and I know what you're thinking. Oh man, no, but I have to have a contact form. I have to be able to, reply straight away, immediately to them, because that's how I want to treat my lead immediately, right? You gotta understand this. Just trust me. The people who really want to get to you, they will find a way. I get people repeatedly come to me, even if I don't respond to them. Either I don't think they're a good fit, or whether my schedule is full, whatever it is. People will try to get to you repeatedly if they want to. So don't worry about that. Don't make yourself readily accessible. So the things that you can do practically is get an assistant to do your scheduling. Okay, you don't have to have that. Okay, instead of using an assistant, you can do something like Schedule Once that I use. Okay, so people have to schedule an appointment with you, and you have to approve that appointment. And what I also like to do is use an application process. You can do it. You can explain what the application is. Okay, you can give some kind of a freebie, ebook, a PDF, or a video. Then you can explain, hey guys, this is what I got. You kind of like trying to talk about the pain points that they have that you normally know your market has, right? If you're struggling with getting consistent lead flow of people getting roofing estimates, and we all know that Yellow Pages is really killing local businesses because they're not getting the returns that they want, and that's why the Yellow Pages are always shrinking every single year. And listen, I've been there and I understand how it's like, and so what I want to do is I want to help you in giving you a step-by-step blueprint on how to getting a consistent flow of leads to your business right now. And by the way, if you have some testimonials, you can throw it in there and things like that, okay? But at the end of the day, if you can have a process where you can deliver the value, you can demonstrate your ability, if that you can do something like this, teaching them how to do this, right? Teaching the roofer, giving them some kind of a teaser thing, right? Maybe like for 3, 4, 5 videos, and after that, or you can do like a webinar like this, and after that, if you're like, hey, listen, guys, if what I've shown you, okay, this stuff works, and if you want to work together, apply and work with me. Right, this is what you can do. Okay, you got to go through that process to get to you. They can't immediately get to you because it's human tendency not to value what's free and what's easily gotten. Right? So if you understand that position, that people just really don't value that, then don't make yourself readily available, because that's how the real world operates. You can't get to Bill Gates. You can't get to Warren Buffett immediately if you want to. Right, because these are people who are seen as a place of authority and positioning, at least in their sphere of business. So you want to purposely engineer that type of positioning. Okay, being not really accessible. Okay, having people come to you, apply, schedule, and approve. After you approve them, they can talk to you. Okay, this is very important. That's a very important positioning. Second thing is, let's say once you make that contact, okay, they can get to you, they apply, they kind of jump through a little bit of hoops that you ask them to jump through, because you don't want to talk to everybody. You've talked to a lot of people, waste your time. Right? Those who want to waste your time, usually they don't jump through the hoops that you want to, that you set there, right? Once you make that contact, you start diagnosing. And this is based on an integrity-based model. It requires, if you're doing this on integrity-based, you know that your service, or generally speaking, you can help most local businesses because they just want more leads and sales, right? But if you talk to some guy and they're like, oh, I remember like when I first started, right? I was in this Starbucks outside trying to talk to this new prospect, and I went to a trade show. I did a video for them. Guess that's what I learned how to pitch them, and I did a free video for them and trying to pitch them on an SEO thing. And then back then I was only trying to get $300, right? It's just really, really lame, okay, guys? And so thinking about this, it's just really painful having stuff like this, okay? So the guy's like, oh, listen, okay, I want a CRM, and I don't want WordPress, okay? I want something that's specifically coded or some kind of deal like that. I'm like, you're going to pay $300? You wanted me to give you a specific, I didn't tell him that, obviously. I was thinking this in my head. You want for $300 that you're not even willing to pay? Okay, because you're saying $300 is a lot. You want a CRM specifically tailored to you? And you don't want WordPress, which is, by the way, pretty good, like pretty easy to use. I can optimize things different ways and whatever. You don't want it. I mean, I'm like, those are the type of people that I was talking to before I learned all these processes of positioning and diagnosing and fishing the right pond, things like that. I'm sharing with you. So if you go and diagnose the person and they're giving you stuff like this, you're right. Listen, it's not going to be a good fit. It's not going to work. Thank you for your time, and that's it. Right? So integrity-based model requires that you have a correct diagnosis on whether you can actually help the person get what they want. I told, you know what, listen, I can't give you what you want. I'm not going to give you custom tailor coded CRM. I don't remember what he said, custom coded, okay? But it's something that's custom to him, okay, on a $300 budget. It's not going to work. right? So you're gonna have to understand when you're talking to them, right? If you've been looking at the me versus client-centric model, you'll understand, right? You're not pitching your service, your keywords, your citations, your videos. You're not doing any of that. What you're trying to do is you're going to try to understand their pain. What are you struggling with, Mike? Okay, you're not going to ask them, what's your pain, right? So how many sales are you getting right now, Mike? Okay, so what's your target goal? Okay, so it seems like you're saying, what you're telling me is you're missing about 20 grand in sales a month. Why do you think that is? You get the person to talk so you can diagnose whether there's a problem, just like a doctor. That's how doctors work. You go into an office, they ask you questions. Right? Why are they not achieving their goals? What is preventing them? What help do they need? Okay, and while they're talking about this, while you're diagnosing like a real doctor would, you're going to have a mental blueprint on what you could possibly help to get them results that they want. You're thinking, I can probably help him to do this. If he's not putting that process in place, if he's not having a lead generation funnel there, if he's not getting some rankings there, I can probably get him some more calls and some leads there. I can probably help him with some kind of content marketing there. Right? I can probably help them there. You have these mental blueprints. And so, as you have these mental blueprints, you're going to start thinking, I think there may be a fit. You're thinking this, okay? And you're going to continue the interview process. Now, the majority of your guys, or your competition, they're not doing this. Okay, instead of asking these questions of what your prospects want, which again, remember, all they care is about themselves. They don't care about your keywords, your videos. Remember? So if you're there asking about the business, hey, where you and guys, you can't be doing this in a condescending way. You have to have a genuine interest in your prospects. I mean, if you see a possible good fit, you really should think, can I really help this guy here? I mean, what he's telling me, I think I can do it. Like, if I put in this, if I SEO this, if I give him the video that, and I can help him that. Like, if you're starting to process it, you're diagnosing, right? Your doctor, a good doctor, is not just going to give you some random medication without understanding first if what the symptoms you're getting is going to work with whatever he's going to prescribe, right? So you're going to have to do the same thing, okay, guys? And so after you diagnose them, if you're like, okay, I see a fit, then what you need to do is you're going to continue the interview process, okay? You're going to, as you're doing this, you're finding out the problems and the pain. That's only one part. You don't want to get them to keep on talking about the problems and the pain, because you also want to help them focus on what is good. Nobody like to focus on the problems and pains. Hey, focus on their goals and their wants. Can you really help them? Right? 80% of the time, you're asking them to talk, hey, how did you get into this business? Okay? When they say things like, oh yeah, I want to make an extra 50 grand of sales a month, right? So you're going to jot that down. I mean, if you're on the phone or whatever, you make a mental blueprint. If it's a local, you're doing a one-on-one thing. The thing I would ask is, so Mike, why is it important? Or I would say, Mike, is it important for you to make an extra 50 grand a month? And he's going to say, yeah. And then usually he'll start talking to him. And if he doesn't, I'll be like, why is it, just really curious? Why is it important for you to make an extra 50 grand a month in your business right now? And then he's going to start talking about why it's important for him. Right? Oh, because he has he got to pay his crew. He can't really fire them. And these are real things I actually talk to people at the town, okay? Because they had these guys. It's really hard to get guys on the team. Once you get them on board, you're going to get them regular jobs. If you don't give them regular jobs, they're going to jump ship to another company. Okay, these are more contractor stuff, okay? And so even if, as the business owner, when you're talking to him, he's going to tell you when, and if you've never had these conversations, you're getting some insights into what these business owners are thinking, okay? Because this is real life stuff I'm telling you. So they would say things like, so even if I'm not getting jobs, I'm still paying them because I want to keep them on the crew. Now, you're going to be thinking this, right? A business owner is paying out of his own pocket because he's not getting the jobs that he needs so they can keep his crew. Is that a huge pain point for him? You bet. So what is it that you can do to help alleviate his problem and help him get to his goals? Well, if you got SEO skills, if you got lead generation skills, if you got content marketing, if you got ways to generate traffic and generate that transcends to more business to him, if you can maybe dial in some kind of email marketing, get into a list that works into his particular niche, right? If he doesn't have some kind of a database, you help him put it in there and put in a kind of a sales funnel so that people can hear his message over and over again and kind of get it, only if it makes sense on a niche, okay? So different local marketing strategies that you and I already know, right? Some of these are basic stuff, and yet local businesses don't understand. And yet if you can help them do that, and the only way you can do that and see if you can actually help them is if you identify their problems, their pains, their goals, and see if you can actually have a viable solution to give them. And so 80% of the time they should be talking 20% of the time you should talk. And when you talk, you ask questions and then you be quiet. And what you do is you feedback and clarify their pains and the goals to them. Because you want to really clarify, make sure whether that's what they're experiencing, whether you're hearing them right. And you can understand this. I guarantee you, most of your prospects, they've never experienced this before. If they have, it's very, very rare because most people are out there pitching. Okay? And you and I have done that before, right? But as you do these shifts that I'm telling you today in this webinar, okay, it's totally going to be a game changer for you. Because if done properly, okay, guys, you can understand that they're already half closed. If you do this properly and you do this positioning, diagnosing, and interviewing, right? Before you even explain what you got, many people close themselves. Okay? I've had people who actually call me back. I've not talked to them for a while, for a few months. They come back and tell me, listen, I want to renew. I want to do this because I've seen you can deliver. And that's all built on relationship that they know the thing is integrity based. I can help them, and I've delivered my results before. Obviously, are the things you gotta tweak, and sometimes things don't work as well as you do. Right? I have to tweak things. Sometimes it doesn't work as the way I planned, but I tweak things for my clients just like you do. The idea is you gotta understand that you can achieve that level of perceived value. When you do that, you got those clients, and they're like half close. They're gonna be wondering, wow, like, what do you got? I don't know, like, nobody asked me those questions. I've had people tell me, like, I've never had those people ask me those questions, right? And yet they're really enjoying it. And if anything else, they never even had a friend to talk to. You can understand these business owners, right? They can't talk to their crew about that, and many times they don't talk to their families about that. Who can they talk to? They're having all this stress. Yet you come along, you listen to them, you really genuinely listen to their pain and problem and goals, and assess whether you can really help them, right? It's like they're half closed by the time you're doing this entire process. And so, guys, do you remember the formula that I gave you? If your symbol is if your perceived value is higher than your fee, you got a sale, you got a high ticket clients. How do you engineer? How do you increase your perceived value? Well, I just gave it to you. If you position yourself properly, making yourself not easily accessible, okay? Positioning yourself in the ways I described, and you increase your perceived value. Does Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or people who are CEOs and presidents of the company, do they have a higher perceived value than some kind of regular employee? Absolutely yes. They're not easily accessible. Their position tells them that they have higher value, at least in a business sense. To engineer that, okay, you do that. Don't make yourself readily accessible. If you have an assistant, okay, then based on truth, obviously, if you have a lot of people contacting you, can be like, you can have your assistant say, hey, listen, Mike, appreciate your call and want to speak with let's say you're John. John's actually very busy, and he only gives 2 consultations every week. And so now, obviously, that has to be the truth. I do not suggest you make up some fake numbers just to do like false scarcity. I'm so against that in the internet marketing sphere. You know, it just doesn't work. If you do say things like that, make sure your scarcity is real. Okay, so make sure you're positioning your way based on truth. If you only give 2 weeks, 2 sessions, or 2 sessions a day, or 3, whatever it is, then just say it. They're like, oh wow, and listen. If they're like, oh, they only give 2, and I'm put on one of those calls, now your position is so much higher. They can't speak to you yet. They gotta arrange it. They have to approve you. They have to apply, whatever. And even then, okay, there are a lot of people who can't get to you like them. Now they can be like, wow, this guy must be pretty good, versus all these other guys cold calling, pitching me all this stuff, right? What are you going to be thinking in their head? Okay, and as you go along, you're going to diagnose the problem, right? You're asking them what's happening in the business, what are the pains, what are the goals, why are they not getting what they want, what are the obstacles that they're having. You're diagnosing the problem, you're asking about their goals. Most of these things they've never experienced before, and so you increase your value. Why is it important? Why are you increasing your perceived value when you're diagnosing the problem? Well, because if someone can describe your problem even better than you can describe it yourself, you're gonna think like, oh man, this guy's got a solution, right? If your doctor comes to you and let's say you got this pain, right, in your back or whatever, right, and the doctor goes like, oh, do you have this pain that pulls up like this at night, and especially if you put yourself in that position, you're like, oh yeah, that's exactly how I feel, right? And usually it happens in the morning when you after you drink water or have breakfast or something. Obviously I'm making it up, right? But if every symptom that he describes is something that you experienced, and you're like, oh my, wow, this guy really knows. You know what I'm experiencing. He must have a solution for it. It's because if he knows the symptoms, he's got to know the solution. And so if you're there and you're like, so Mike, it seems like you're telling me you're not really having an extra 20K in sales, which you're looking to do. And do you think you currently have a sales process or an online presence that's helping you get those leads? And he's thinking, oh yeah, I really don't have to. And he's just talking about the problems, right? You're diagnosing. Do you have this? Or are you doing this? Right? As you start doing this, he's just going to start to realize his pain. And the more he's able to realize the pain that you're describing, and again, you're not pitching, okay? You're asking questions to lead him. So you're not going to just say it. You're going to post it in the question. Right? So, Mike, are you doing this? Or what about that? What's your experience with that? Okay, obviously you may know that obviously he doesn't have a presence, but you're still gonna ask it, right? So, Mike, how's your online presence right now with your company? Right? Stuff like that. It's not, I mean, some people are gonna say great, but you're gonna have to bring him to a point to show him, oh, by the way, I just see your competitor here, do you feel like you have better service than them? And most people will say like, oh, I believe we're better, they're all this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so as you talk about this, you're diagnosing a problem, you're relating to what he cares about, and you're interviewing them, you're interviewing their goals. When you do all of this, you're increasing your perceived value because most people don't do this. And so guys, that's why I'm walking through this positioning, diagnosing, interview, because this is why it's so important. The key is on the close. Okay? The key is on the close. When you make that contact, if you know how to attract them and position them and fishing in the right pond, obviously you got to know how to close them and what to close them, so that you can have this cycle of continual high-ticket clients. So you can have joy working your business, not working with people that you don't even want to talk to. So guys, don't you see that this is so much better than the push method, right? False scarcity methods and not based on integrity, promising something you can't deliver. Isn't that so much better? Because if you do it this way, it's 100% pull. Okay, it's stress-free. Okay, you can make more. Why? Because with better clients. And it's a win-win situation, because not only are you delivering what you really deliver, you're helping the business grow, you will get paid high tickets clients and a premium price.